Hey everybody, my name is Guy. I'm back on producing content on anything tech. I've been in this field for 10 years, and I'm currently working at the Solana Foundation as a software engineer. I'm probably one of the 4 or 5 people left in crypto that's not gone working for AI. Well, in this channel, we're gonna have a look at a lot of things. We're gonna look at the latest models, the latest things happening in crypto, in trading, and today especially, I'm gonna be testing if the hype on Claude Fable 5 is real or not. So we're gonna be going through 3 prompts that we're gonna test, and we're gonna see if they actually work or if this is just hype. All right, so with Fable 5 being out, I've seen all of these crazy prompts on X all over the place. I've seen, for example, people creating full galaxies. There's people recreating all kinds of things, videos, animations. I wanted to see if the hype is real. Are these just for clicks to feed the algorithm, or is Claude Fable 5 really that good? So what I did is that I took some of the most impressive examples and we created prompts. So we're going to recreate it and test it ourselves to get the results. For example, here we're going to recreate Windows 95. We're going to see if we can make a Skyrim clone. And lastly, we're going to go a bit lighter, a bit nostalgic. Can we create a Pokemon clone? So what we're going to do is that I have started here in my terminal. I have a window for each, for Windows 95, one for Skyrim, and one for Pokemon. We're going to start Claude Fable inside all of these. So what we're going to do is that we're going to run Claude, give it full permissions, and we're going to ask it to run with the model Claude Fable 5. So I'm going to start in each of these windows. We're going to go exactly with the prompt, and we're going to run them live. All right. And I'm going to start Claude in the last window here. So let's explore a little bit these prompts. What we're going to do is we're going to see if Claude is really able to one-shot these in really one prompt. The reason we're doing this is that when these models are released, there's a lot of hype, there's a lot of things happening. And what I want to see is the model really that good? Does it pass the vibe check when I'm actually using this myself? Do I get as good of a result? So what we're going to do now is we're going to take these 3 prompts into my 3 Claude instances and we're going to let it work. We're going to see if Fable is really all that good. I am expecting this to take, a solid 20 minutes, maybe even an hour, but we're gonna see where it goes. So I've put in Pokemon, now I'm gonna put in Skyrim into the second window, and I'm going to put our Pokemon game, especially because I'm a big fan of Pokemon, into our last window here. This is gonna take a while, so what we will do is that we're going to see a bit what it's doing, how many tokens is it using, and at the end, we're going to have a look at the final result and see if it was really all that powerful. Let's have a look at the prompt while this is running, so we're gonna have a better understanding of what we're asking the model actually. What I'm really trying to see is, without using a lot of libraries, without using anything complicated, is Fable really able to look and get the physics good in the games? Is it able to really get the look and feel? So if we look at these prompts, we're asking it to only use HTML5, CSS, and normal JavaScript. The goal of this is that if Fable leverages a lot of these powerful tools, I'm sure it can get pretty far, but I want to test the raw capacity. Is it able just with simple web development tools to get really far and create for us a really working operating system, or actually the looks of it, really make an open world game like Skyrim? These are not simple tasks. Obviously, we're not going to build a real thing. We're not going to have a full Skyrim game, but still getting the 3D aspect, getting the look and feel of Pokemon and Windows 95 really tells us a lot if this model gets close enough or not. But obviously, we're not looking at a full clone here, so we have to give it a bit of time. All right, so this has been going on for around 35 minutes at this point. We had a bit of a hiccup on the Pokemon one. More especially, the prompt was asking it to be in a single HTML file, and we went over the maximum token limit, which means probably our HTML file was way too big. So what I've said instead, I asked Claude to just continue working in chunks. And since that hiccup, it's been chugging along for 6 minutes, 15 seconds. And on the Pokemon side, still working 35 minutes in, not exactly sure what's up with it. We're gonna see once it finishes, but we have at least Skyrim is done. It is telling us pretty much everything about the gameplay, about the world. So we're gonna have a look. So once everything completes, we're gonna jump right in and we're gonna get to see the final results and see if it is as good as people say. All right, so Fable is a workhorse. So what do we have here? It's still working on the Pokemon game after 52 minutes. So I've heard crazy stories of it going on for 4 hours, but while this is happening, let's have a look at the other two. So Skyrim, 35 minutes. I'm not getting my hopes too high for this one simply because what can you do in 35 minutes for a Skyrim game? But let's see where we're at. Windows has recovered from the first error. Pokemon is, I think, in the last phases. It's at the end of consolidating the HTML file. So I'm gonna have a look at Skyrim first while the others two work. I wanted to do a reaction to all three, but hey, we're not gonna be here all night, so let's have a look at Skyrim. Okay, so first things, these homes look terrible. There's a menu, this is always good. Let's click to begin your journey. My character is walking alone and going backwards. I'm trying to go in the front, but my character is walking behind me without even any reaction. So one-shotting Skyrim, fake news, not happening. I'm pretty sure I could tweak it with a few prompts to get there, but I was asking for an open world simulation. You know, I was asking to get close to Skyrim. I'm at least seeing some good features. As an example, the escape to pause is there. There's a life bar. There's like a skill bar. I can hit with a sword, but it looks more like a cheap Minecraft made by a 12-year-old learning to code. So no, Skyrim does not cut it. Fable is good, but Fable is not able to build Skyrim in a browser whatsoever in one prompt. I'm sure a pro game dev might have done a better job with it, but people are claiming that they reached these crazy results. Well, I'm letting you know that we're trying these prompts and so far it's 0 out of 1. Let's hope that Fable can redeem itself for Pokemon in Windows 95. So I like that I see the pine trees, there's like the horizon, there's mountains. I'm going up a mountain by walking back. And there's a night and day cycle. So look, the base is here. But saying this is gonna replace like a full studio, we're not there yet. And this is costing double the token price of Opus 4.8. And 4.8 was already costing 20 times more than DeepSeek. So yes, you could probably use this all day long and get good games if you prompt it, if you organize in like a recursive loop to get better. But realistically, you're not gonna give this to a student and not one person is going to replace a whole studio. So I don't know. I have more hopes for Pokemon because Pokemon is a bit smaller. But let's be honest, Skyrim is a AAA title of 12 years ago. We're not going to reach AAA levels in these models until that we really start working with them from first principle. When we really have game studios optimized for these models, I think it can empower studios. But no, we're not there yet. Not for games, at least. So I'm going to stop Skyrim here. Complete fail. But hey, it was fun seeing myself walk at night on a mountain. There was one monster, so I'm good at staying alive in this bad game. But hey, it was pretty fun. The first thing this time, it did not open the game for me, while Skyrim, it decided to open the game for me. So I'm going to say, open this in my browser. Let's, that probably just cost me $2 because even if I'm prompting 5 words, this is super expensive. All right, we have Windows 95 Nostalgia. Okay, let's click to power on. The loading is nice. Okay, this one honestly so far is much better than Skyrim. It worked for longer and it shows that it really went to work here. So let's click on the start menu. Right before I do this, I actually really love the aesthetic. So if you're looking at the blues, this is bringing me back, you know, when I was downloading stuff for my MP3 player, like I'm there. The start menu looks pretty good. There's even the nested menus. Look, there's Notepad. Notepad, is it draggable? I can drag it on the screen. Can I double click to make it big, full screen? It works. Okay, much better points for Windows 95. I believe this one. What if, can I save a file? This really starts to hint because now we've looked at the UI. The UI is on point, but these models have been good at UI for I think at least a good year. They've been better at me at UI, and I used to be a front-end developer as a specialty. I'm not out of work because I keep these employed to pretend I'm working, but actually doing my job. But let's see now the real logic. What I mean here is that if I can save a file, we're starting to have a full OS system. Obviously in the browser, it's abstracted, but can we save this file? So let's see. Fable 5, can I save? It's prompting me to name it. The animation was even the same one as 95 if I remember. Let's call this Fable. It is saved. I don't know where. So do they have a file system? Do they have documents? Yes, I can reopen Fable. Let's try something. Let's try and see if I can do Command S. Or Control S maybe. Yeah, the keyboard shortcuts are not working, but that's maybe because my browser is there. So right off the bat, I can save from the nostalgia. Oh, there's Minesweeper. Let's get... This is crazy. I never understood that game as a kid. I learned English from, going online and watching cartoons. But I still don't understand it 20 years later, but it is there. It is working. Wait, actually 95, that's 30 years. Wow, I'm getting old. But no, so far, the one I'm the most excited to look at is Paint, a full paint system. When as a kid, I used to love the effect of printing a black background with red text. I was 5 years old, so I would print this and my mom would go crazy because I would be spending all of the ink of the printer. And then back then printing was, we don't print anymore, but back then it was like a luxury. But yeah, you know what? Enough rambling. Definitely 10 out of 10 for the Windows 95. There's a calculator, there's Minesweeper. I can drag and drop stuff. The menu's there. I can shut it down. So we're looking now 1 out of 2. Skyrim was a fail. 95 was a pass. Let's see where Pokemon is at. Pokemon, I'm surprised because I kind of thought Pokemon was going to be one of the simpler ones. In terms of graphics, for example, Pokemon Red could run when you were, I think it could run just coded in assembly. Like the graphics were really simple. It fit like on a tiny cartridge, but it's still going. It's working on the battle system. I can tell that it's really trying to do a lot of work here. And I think it's going really well. But I'm going to let it go. It's been 1 hour and 1 minute. I have a lot of hopes for Pokemon, but I'm surprised. I think it's going way more high fidelity to the actual game because it's taking more time. And I'm really curious why Skyrim was hard to do. I know 3D graphics are hard, but I'm surprised why the game decided, you know what, after 25 minutes, let's call it a day, let's pack up, we're done. Versus Pokemon, which is realistically simpler. Yes, the systems are harder, like the battle system maybe taking more time. There's like a whole map to build and there's like the stats. But realistically, this game has been in the public domain for decades at this point. So I'm not sure why it's taking that long for Pokemon, and Skyrim had decided that it was good to go. So we're gonna cut it here. I'm gonna get back in a few minutes, maybe a few hours, we'll see. Something special is happening in the Pokemon tab. It's really been testing the game a lot. And by testing, I mean it's really checking for the quality. It's making sure that the health system works, that the story system works. This is really explaining why it's taking so long, but I can still open the game. So one nice little trick when you work with Claude in a long session is that you can use the by the way, BWT, to ask it a secondary thread without stopping the model from running its main thing. So it told me that yes, the game is ready. It's just finalizing its last few tests. So we're gonna open it up. So we're just going to open ourselves the HTML file and look at this. I mean, the art is on the cheap side, but this looks like my cartridge for when I was a kid. So let's go ahead. I see if I'm gonna do a bit put this a bit bigger. I see we have the movements. We have Z or space to talk to somebody. Okay, let's try this. So I'm entering. Oh, the intro is the exact same one that I had younger. The graphics are disgusting, but I would say that the logic looks to be there. It doesn't have the same charm of, you know, the black and white or like reddish tones that we had in the original. However, and I have like 2 pairs of eyes. This is, I'm not sure how we got there, but let's play the game a little bit. So, okay, I'm gonna try going. This should be my own house. I can enter buildings. Okay, nice. We're talking to Professor. It says cedar and not oak. I think this is because Fable is really meant not to copy actual content from online. It's because Anthropic really doesn't want to get sued. So normally they would rename something, for example, Professor Oak, Professor Cedar, as an example. Not sure if this is what they've done here, but I think that's what it is. We can choose our Pokemon. And there, again, we're seeing the same thing. This would be Charizard, this would be Squirtle. Oh, what happened to me now is that because they've edited the game has restarted on me. Or it just opened itself a tab. No, okay, my game is still there. So I'm gonna pick Charizard, of course. There's not any other choice. Okay, I have Pokeballs, I have potions. Okay, we're looking pretty good. Let's see. It also inverted. I don't have my house, but I think this is the Pokemon Center. I can heal my Pokemons. Look, I'm gonna be honest. The fact that it worked for an hour straight and it got all of these game systems integrated. Skyrim was a letdown. 95 was really good, but hey, it's not that difficult. It's UI. This is a lot of game systems. It has the zones. I want to trigger an encounter with a Pokemon. That's something I'd love to see. Can I? Yes, I've triggered an encounter with a Rattata, which would be a Rattata, they really don't want to get sued. So let's fight. The animations are on point. So just the graphics are not as cute, but hey, it's there. It is working. Can I catch it with a Pokeball? There's all even the systems of maybe if the health is not high enough. Oh no, I'm gonna die. So let's see, normally when you die in the real Pokemon game, you get back to the town center where you were last at, the Pokemon Center. And it did exactly this. This, honestly, so far, Pokemon is a 9 out of 10. In terms of the logic of the game, it even went beyond what I was expecting. Just the graphics are really bad. It looks like a cheap, like Mario game. But in terms of, there's even the conversations with NPCs, there's even the encounters with the Pokemon, there's paths, there's different zones. They look like they've modeled a lot of different Pokemon here. So no, we're looking really good with this game, honestly. They've actually made it a bit harder than I expected too. So they have potions, there's really everything in this game. I'm gonna try catching just one Pokemon. I don't think we can end this video without having actually caught a Pokemon. So I hope I don't have to do this like for 20 hours today. And I'm gonna die again. Oh, wait. Let's throw another Pokeball. I need this to happen. Like we need this to really work. And no, we died again. Well, you know what? I think we can call this one a pass, like a win. We're pretty much at the end. Let's recap the technical parts. I used 87% of the context window. So that means that Claude has worked a lot here. It's really worked and used a lot of its abilities. And it tested everything. It made the game work. Skyrim, complete fail. Windows 95, complete win. So look, I'll say it like this. Fable is a wonderful model. I really think that it's one notch above the rest of the other models that came before it. It's better than 4.8. My favorite personal to work is still GPT 5.5, just because the costs on Fable are just insane. It's not something I'd bring in to just change colors on my website, but for sure, if I'm working on a really difficult engineering problem and I want to give it space to have a look at it and try to nail down the problem and try to really go deep, this is where I think Fable shines. I'm gonna have to test it in some real applications in big code bases to see how good it's able to work. I've tested it in a lot of cases where I've asked it to integrate APIs, I've asked it to do UI, and it's in general the best Claude model that we've ever had. But I'm not sure that you should listen to the hypes on these videos, but hey, I'm happy with the results. We got a lot of fun today, so we're gonna wrap it up. We've came to the conclusion, Fable is a really powerful model. It's a good workhorse. However, it is expensive and you really have to get beyond the hype. So when you see these posts, don't fall for it. You still have a job if you learn how to use these tools really well. If you want me to do more content like this, let me know what you'd like. There's a lot to explore. Comment down below, subscribe, give it a bit of engagement. This way I'll know what you guys are looking for.